Alright everybody, I'm Sarah Butler, you're watching Hollywood and Vines, and today I'm going to talk to you about seeds. We are all doing a lot of planting these days, aren't we? I've always been a plant person, I've always been a seed person, but I find that there's so many more of us these days because we're all stuck at home and we have not a lot to do, and this is the perfect time of year to plant seeds, so why not? Which I think is great. I think it's awesome that everybody's kind of coming into the fold, and you know, I just hope that you guys can share your seeds. The thing is, you know, I've had some of these packets of seeds for like 3 years, 4 years, and they're starting to not be as viable, meaning they won't all germinate or sprout because they have a sort of shelf life. And the reason I still have them is because I rarely need to plant more than just a few in each packet. So what I'd like to encourage is that you talk to your friends and you say, what would you like to grow? Oh, I want to grow that too. And you guys can actually just put together little Ziploc baggies with labels, and you can send each other seeds. I'm doing this with my friend right now, and we're super excited because it's like double the seeds for half the price. Okay guys, I'm gonna just go through everything that I have here and just tell you what I have in case you don't know what you want to plant, because there's a lot out there, and it's exciting. I never have enough room to plant everything I want to plant. Here are some ideas, guys. First of all, the one I'm holding, Squash Lakota, and this is from Baker Creek Heirloom Seeds. A lot of the seeds that I plant are from them. They're really great. They are all natural. They honestly have the best germination rate of any seeds that I've ever grown, and they often carry very rare and interesting types of vegetables. So this one, Squash Lakota, I grew this last year. I haven't planted it this year yet because, frankly, by the time it came time to harvest it, the vines last year were all dead, and I asked my gardener to go up there and help like clean up some of the mess from all my weeding and, you know, planting and dirt everywhere. And he was like, oh, this is dead, and he just took it out. So that was a little discouraging. I may grow this again. This is what we call a winter squash, so meaning it grows during the summer, but you don't harvest it until the winter. So in other words, it's not a very immediate gratification type of crop. But so cute, and apparently sweet with a nutty taste, which sounds great. Okay, moving on. Leeks. Who doesn't like a leek, right? I mean, if you're planting potatoes, you might as well plant some leeks too. These guys are pretty awesome, again from Baker Creek Heirloom Seeds. They start out super tiny, and you have to be really delicate with them, and then you have to bury them gradually, mound up the soil around them, and you see that's why they're white there, because the sun can't reach them to produce chlorophyll. Amazing, right? So there you go, that's how leeks are done. Black coat runner bean, again from Baker Creek. These guys I have planted. They're actually a perennial, which means they keep on living year after year. And they're beautiful. You can see it shows the red flower right here. You get a lot of those red blossoms. The bees love them, hummingbirds love them, and then they produce these pea pods. And the thing I would tell you about peas and beans in general is that they are super heavy producers, meaning they'll continue to make a lot of beans or peas for you, but you have to remove the pods sooner rather than later. That actually helps them to produce more, and it keeps the pods nice and young and tender, which make them nicer to eat. The one exception would be if you want to harvest these for drying, then you would let the pods mature a lot longer until they become hard themselves. I don't really do that because it just seems really labor intensive, and I'd rather grow fresh vegetables for them to be fresh. But that's just me. Okay, more leeks. You can never have too many leeks apparently. Just be sure to, you know, use these before they go bad. This says packed for 2018 on it. It's not the year anymore. Sugar pod snow pea from Seeds of Change. Seeds of Change is also a really great company with a lot of good kind of intentions for sustainability and environmentalism, and So definitely a great brand to check out, guys. And who doesn't love a sugar snap pea? I mean, they're delicious. This is sell by December 16th. So this pack of seeds is like a Hail Mary. Like I'll plant them, I'll see. They might not sprout at all. So just keep that in mind, guys. Okay, sparkler radish, I have not planted this one yet. I have planted other radishes and they're really rewarding because they are a very fast crop. This says on the back of it, matures in 25 days. That means in less than a month after you plant this seed, you get a radish that you can eat, which is pretty cool. So read your seed packets, see when the maturity date is. Sometimes it's labeled differently. I'll try to see if I have some other examples of that here. But radishes are known to be one of the fastest crops to produce. Okay, sugar pie pumpkin. You can see that this is in a cute little homemade envelope. That's because I got it from my friend. Again, guys, it's really cool to just grab a couple seeds from your friends and share those around, especially with something like a pumpkin, a melon, squash, cucumbers. They're high producers, and you're not gonna wanna plant more than 1 or 2 plants per person because you won't be able, trust me, you won't be able to keep up with the production. So I'm gonna try these a little bit later after some of my radishes mature. I can put them in. Summer squash caserta. This is also from Baker Creek. I thought this was a zucchini. It's not. It's a summer squash. It's almost the same, but these guys can get huge. And I had one that was like this long last year, which was really exciting. But the problem was, you know, I got too excited about how big it was and I just kept letting it grow and grow and grow. By the time I harvested it, it was hard as a rock. And I was thinking I was gonna make zucchini noodles out of it. And yeah, no, it did not go through my spiralizer. So guys, always remember, we eat babies. I was in a Master Gardener program, a Zoom call today, and just trying to keep up with my continued education. And one of the other Master Gardeners used that. They said, remember, we eat babies. We like to eat tender young plants. That's when they're the best and the tastiest. I'm like, I don't know, I can't really relate. But you won't forget that, I'm sure. So, okay, more radishes. These ones are really pretty. This is Chinese red meat. So you can see it has like a beautiful pattern. Again, kind of fun to just try out different stuff. Doesn't say the maturity time on this one, but it will be fast. Cosmos rubinato. These are beautiful flowers. Oh, they're so pretty. And you know, flowers is probably the last thing I got into with growing. I was never into that. I like leafy, jungly houseplants, and I like vegetables that I can eat and fruits that I can eat. But I was kind of like, what's the point of flowers? Well, there's a bunch of points to them. They make you happy. Like when a flower blooms, you feel this immense sense of success as a gardener. And you know, they're just gorgeous. But the bigger reason why flowers are amazing, especially when you're already growing vegetables, is that they attract pollinators. And pollinators are anything, any creature that likes pollen on plants. So bees, birds, other bugs, good bugs. And they go around and they touch all the different flowers of everything, including the flowers on your vegetable plants or on your citrus trees. And they are the reason that you get fruit in the first place. Another one, aspen daisy. I haven't planted this one yet, but how cute is that? We'll see, maybe a little bit later. As you can see, I have too many things to plant. I need a farm that's like 5 acres big at least. Kentucky Wonder bean pole. This is a long green bean. It takes 63 days to maturity. That's 2 months, give or take. That's pretty good. You know, that's a nice amount of time. If I plant it now in the beginning of April, I will have these by the beginning of June. And then I might even be able to plant another something in that spot once these are done. So think about that when you're picking your seeds too. How can you kind of space out the crops so that you can have a continual harvest for as long throughout the year as possible? Okay. Whew, there's a lot here. Butternut squash. Ooh, these are so good. I love a butternut squash. Again, a winter squash. Plant it in the summer or spring. harvest it in the winter. So, you know, not as much of an immediate gratification thing, but amazing for soup. This I have labeled seed tray because I started a seed tray, and I wanted to remember that this is what I planted. Chinese lantern. This is a landscape flower. I have sort of a Japanese Zen garden in my backyard, and I thought this might be nice, so I've started some of those. Barry's Crazy Cherry Tomato. This is again from Baker Creek, and this is a high producer. I didn't think it was that tasty, but a lot of tomatoes. So maybe good for cooking, I'm not sure. Or maybe you have better luck with the tasty ones. Eggplant. Still haven't quite gotten one of these to maturity yet. I feel like these guys need a longer time to get bigger and produce fruit, so you want to start them early in the year. That probably goes for anything with large fruits. Cauliflower, I have some of these starting, very excited about those. Romanesco, which is that cool like spirally broccoli cauliflower looking thing. It's from Italy. I don't know, it's like one of those fancy veggies that you can impress all your guests with. Artichokes. Artichokes are a perennial, which means they come back every single year. You don't need to replant them. I have a bunch up there already, but there's like some extra space in the bed, and I'm like, well, I could do with more artichokes. So started some of those guys. Parisian gherkin cucumber. These are cute little baby cucumbers, and I love cucumbers. Besides tomatoes, it's probably one of my favorite crops to grow here in Southern California. I also have a lemon tree, so when I plant cucumbers, tomatoes, shallots, and then I have my lemon, all I need to do is buy feta cheese and olive oil, and I can make an incredible Greek salad, which is great. Okay, cucumber, Japanese long cucumber. Just another cucumber. I mean, like, these produce like crazy. Like I said, guys, definitely don't plant more than 2 cucumber bushes per person, because you won't know what to do with them unless you're gonna pickle them, which is another fun thing to do. Melons. Ooh, melons are great. Guys, if you live in a hot place, definitely grow some melons. That is so rewarding to just watch these things grow bigger and bigger, and they're so sweet. Golden honeymoon melon. I had some last year. Unfortunately, I had to go out of town when they were ripening, and then something nibbled on it, and that can happen, guys. So I'm trying it again this year, and excited. Haogan melon, I've done a couple years now. This thing is what got me into melons in the first place. This is a delicious melon. Highly recommend. This one's from Baker Creek, but I know you can get them many places. Great one for our climate here. Celery. I mean, is there a more popular crop at the moment? I think last year it was celery juice was like the most popular thing ever. I had a friend come up here. I had celery stalks, I'm not kidding, 5 feet tall. And my friend was like, let's juice this. So again, another one to make you popular. Stupus tomato. These are giant heirloom tomatoes. They're like, they can get like a pound each. Okay, this is about a month old. These are the seeds that I just told you I planted. Here we have the Romanesco and the cabbage, which got really leggy, as you can see. So I think these are still a little bit young to put outside. They don't look that hardy to me. So I'm just putting them in an area of the house where they're getting more sunlight than they originally had, and see how they adjust. These guys I planted upstairs directly into the beds. So I planted. I have sugar snap pea. This is popping out super fast, even though it said it was packed for 2018. And yeah, these ones are great, really rewarding. Cherokee wax bean, a little bit slower. It's first time growing this one. It's from a private little gardener up in Washington State, where I come from. So curious to see how that does in Southern California. These ones are black garbanzo beans, which I find very exciting. They had a great germination rate. They're still pretty baby, but I'm excited to try these ones out. I think they'll be a good addition to my Greek salads. These garbanzo beans from that little private gardener did not germinate at all. So I don't know, maybe it had something to do with the fact that they're from Washington. It's a much different climate. I'm gonna set that aside because I don't want to waste time with that again. Oh, sweet corn. So I planted corn seedlings a couple years ago, and I got a great harvest. I think I got something like, out of 6 corn stalks, I got maybe over 2 dozen ears of corn. So that was really cool. And I planted these from seed and they all germinated. So that's from Botanical Interests. Great one. Clemson okra. Guys, okra is one of my favorite things to grow. I never thought I would say that. I never liked okra growing up. We didn't really eat it. As an adult, I came to love it more, and these plants have been extremely rewarding to grow. They produce a ton of okras. They first have a beautiful flower on them before the okra grows, so they're just lovely. And I highly recommend it to people, but definitely once they reach about 4 to 5 inches long, cut them and use them because they get tougher the longer they stay on the plant. Here's a different variety from Baker Creek Seeds called Jing Orange Okra, and they really do show up orange like that, so it's really impactful in the garden. However, when you cook them, they become a very like grayish green, so they're definitely not as pretty once cooked. But, you know, whatever. Something interesting, definitely tasty. Basil, I love basil. This one didn't germinate in my garden again, but I love basil. It's again, another great thing to grow if you grow a lot of tomatoes, because tomatoes and basil go amazing together in salads and also in martinis. More on that later. Cilantro, who doesn't love, actually, a lot of people don't like cilantro, but if you do like it, you love it, so I love this one. Amarillo carrot, there's not an appropriate picture, it's a free gift that came from my Baker Creek order. They do send you a few free seeds every time you place an order, which is exciting. I planted these, they are sprouting and they look great, so we'll see how they turn out. Borage, this is an amazing herb. My friend gave me these seeds. I grew some last year. I planted a few more this year. It's an herb, and it's a very fuzzy leafed herb, and it has this beautiful bluish violet flower that comes out of it, and the flower and the leaves are edible, and they all taste like cucumber. So really cool. Here's some Ice Queen lettuce that I got from Baker Creek. This is the best variety that I planted this year as far as germination goes. I might plant more of these because it did so well. It's kind of like an iceberg, but a little bit more ruffly, which is nice. Kind of a better mix of texture, I think, than the traditional iceberg. Let's see, I don't really like Swiss chard, but a lot of people seem to plant it in their gardens, and I know that a big benefit of chard is that it has a very strong, deep taproot that goes down into the soil. So if you have hard patch soil that you want to try to break up and, you know, get more air into it, this is a good crop to plant just for that. Plus, it's pretty, it's rainbow, so you really get stems that are pink and yellow and orange and red, and with that green leaf, it's very visually impactful. So, you know, give it a try. Maybe I'll find some new recipes that are awesome. This is Rouge d'Hiver lettuce. Also got it from Baker Creek. It didn't have a great germination rate with this guy, which is sad because I thought it would be so pretty, like this purpley red lettuce. Who knows? Same thing went for this one, the Forellenschluss lettuce. It's supposed to be this chartreuse color with these like deep purple spot. It's supposed to be the chartreuse color with these deep purple specks on it. Didn't really germinate. Chinese kale. This is really good. It also might be referred to as Chinese broccoli. It's Yod Fa. It's a brassica, meaning it's in the same family as cabbages, broccoli, cauliflower, all those. So it has that kind of like a thicker, meatier, more substantial leaf. And then it does get these like little flower buds that resemble broccoli. So I kind of think of this as a cross between kale and broccoli. And this one's doing really great. It has sprouted like crazy, so I'm excited to use that crop. Black-seeded Simpson lettuce, butter crunch lettuce I got from my friend. These could have been old, they didn't really germinate yet. The Lake Valley seed lettuce blend, it didn't germinate very well. I don't know, it's so weird. I mean, the Ice Queen and the Chinese kale did great, and everything else is like... I just planted these Japanese greens, no idea what they are, but we love Asian vegetables in our house, and I found these at a Japanese nursery in West LA. Hashimoto Nursery, highly recommend it if you live in LA. They are doing orders for pickup right now during the quarantine, so support them if you live in the area. Hopefully these come up and they're cool. I also just planted these shallots, and these were all something I planted to replace the things that didn't germinate. So, you know, when I mentioned I didn't have all of my lettuces germinate, you know, I was like, well, they're not going to germinate. I have all this room. So then I went through my seeds and I picked something else to plant. So definitely don't waste space. Just if something doesn't come up, whatever, throw the seed, pack it away, and don't waste your time with it again, and plant something else. Yay! Dragon tongue bean. I love these. Okay, so as you can see, they're gorgeous. They're green with these beautiful kind of stripy paintbrush sort of purple marks on them. And not only are they pretty, but they produce a lot. I mean, I'm talking, I would like come out off of like 3 of these. I would come out every single day and harvest at least a dozen beans, and then the next day there would be a dozen more. It's incredible, and they're so tasty. They don't even make it back into the kitchen most of the time. I'm just eating them fresh in the garden as a snack. Love these. I also planted these in a planter last season with some of my cannabis clones. And those cannabis clones that were planted in that planter were exponentially bigger than the ones that were planted elsewhere. And I have a theory about that, because beans, anything in the legumes family, which is beans generally, beans and peas, they do this magical thing. They add nitrogen to your soil, and nitrogen is one of the most important nutrients for plants. It's what causes the green leafy growth. So as you can imagine, my cannabis might have been like, hey, I'm liking that nitrogen. So interesting tip to try, you know, interesting to experiment with planting legumes next to plants that you specifically want to get really big, and see how it works for you. And then beets, guys. I have 3 different kinds of beets. They're all from Baker Creek. They all germinated and did really well. I have the Chioggia, which is this amazing kind of candy cane stripy one. I have golden beets, and I have bull's blood beets, which is your typical red beet that most people eat. I had a lot of great luck with these last year. I planted them again this year. When I plant them, I put a lot of them in a row, and then when they start to pop up and they're just little baby ones, I pick out ones to space them out, which is totally okay, guys. Don't worry about killing a few of these things. This packet of seeds cost me like $2 or less. So, you know, and there's a lot in here left too. So you do that because the beets themselves grow underground, and you want to make sure they have enough room to expand and grow into big beets. So that's a cute little tip. Chinese cabbage didn't really germinate. I think like 2 of them out of there. Again, you know, this particular seed supplier is in Washington State, so maybe not appropriate for our climate here. Worth a shot, but you know, it's not a big deal. Same thing, noble giant spinach. Got it from my friend, didn't germinate, so I'm gonna get rid of that. Okay guys, one last thing I want to mention. I have a few more here, but it's, you know, they're mostly flowers and things like that, but I did set aside some peppers. Peppers are also really super fun to grow in our climate. Hungarian yellow wax pepper, haven't tried this one yet, but I know it's a favorite of gardeners in this area. Thai red hot chili pepper, this is one of my favorites because it's a real true hot chili pepper, so if you like spicy food like I do, just one of these minced up in a dish is gonna really blow it up. So these are great, and these have done really well for me. The thing is, they do take a bit longer. They're slow growing. So I would definitely start these guys indoors in a seed tray, and then when they get big enough, you know, maybe about as big as tall as your hand, plant them outdoors. And also, I think they're perennials, or at least maybe they just are here in this climate, because I've had them over winter in my garden, and that's what I have growing here today. They will lose their leaves, but then they grow them back. So you can always leave them in your garden and just like see how they do over the winter. Biquinho peppers, these are awesome. I decided to grow these because I went to a fancy party and they had a really nice cheese plate, and they had these cute little red teardrop peppers that had been pickled, and they're not too spicy. They're like sweet and spicy, and then when you pickle them, it's like everything good about the world in one little thing. And I thought, I can do that. I can make this. So I've gotten into pickling. I still have some room to improve when it comes to my spice combinations, but I've started to experiment with that, which is a great way to preserve any vegetables, excess crops that you have. So I have gotten into pickling, which is a great way to make sure that none of your excess crops go to waste. Say if you have too many cucumbers, pickle them. You can pickle any vegetable, it's great. And then red habanero. I planted this year. I haven't really seen what it can do yet, but I love habanero, so check those out. All right, guys, those are my seeds. I told you I have way too many, and you know, I think it's important to look through what you have every year, see the dates on everything, make sure that you give them a shot before they get too old, and get started early. You can always plant in a seed tray like I did, or in these little, you have these other options, like this is a kind of it's like a paper cup and it biodegrades, so I started my seeds in here and then I can just plant this literally right into the dirt. The only thing is that you want to make sure that the lip of it is not extended above the soil level, because it will actually act as a wick and wick away moisture from the plant into the environment and dry it out. So you can either rip off this top lip or you just submerge it deep enough if your plant is tall enough to do that. This one is plastic. I'll have to transplant this one. But yeah, just start things early and then you have plenty of time to get them in, see how they do. If they don't do well, you can put something else in. Great. Well, that's it, guys. I hope you found some interesting seeds that you might want to try this year. I'll put the links to the companies that I buy seeds from down below. Hopefully they still have some. But you know, it's also a great time, since it's a little bit later in the spring now, to just buy starts from the nursery, which is little baby plants that are usually even bigger than these ones here. And you can get those right into your garden so that they start maturing right away. So call your local nursery, see if they do pickup service, and support them during this time, guys. Have fun, happy gardening. Talk to you soon.